All right, how's everybody doing? Hotep, hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, and writer. It is Monday, July 23rd, 2018. Monday, July 23rd, 2018. Hope everybody's doing well. Some of you saw the Facebook Live broadcast I did of the African History Network show. Sunday night, July 22nd, 2018. If you missed that, you can watch it on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network on Facebook, and then also on YouTube, Michael Imhotep on YouTube. Well, look, I wanted to talk about this story I saw this morning on Black Enterprise's website, blackenterprise.com. And this deals with the co-founder of Blavity.com. And this deals with an African-American woman who raised $6.5 million for this African-American media outlet, okay? Raised $6.5 million. Now, oftentimes we hear about the importance of owning media, African-American media, and we know Malcolm X said that the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. And that's power because they control the minds of the masses. And you have other people who say, hey, we need to own more media, but they're not really doing anything to own more African-American media outlets, all right? So if you're not familiar with Blavity.com, this is a platform for African-American millennials, okay? And I've read a number of articles from Blavity. I think I found out about them last year, 2017, all right? And everybody share this broadcast on your Facebook page. Invite your friends to tune in also. And then also African-American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of our Facebook Live broadcast. We're going to talk about how you can also advertise with the African History Network as well to reach new customers. So Black Enterprise has an article, Blavity founder raises over $6 million in funding, okay? And this is from June 20th, 2018 by Selena Hill. So Morgan DeBaun, D-E-B-A-U-N, hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. She's a 28-year-old African-American female. She's the co-founder and CEO of the media outlet Blavity.com, all right? And they announced on Friday, June 20th, 2018, that she raised $6.5 million in new funding led by GV, which used to be known as Google Ventures. Now they're known as GV. So we know Google, search engine, right? They also have GV, Google Ventures, which invests in up-and-coming businesses. Now, the Series A round also received participation from new investors, Comcast Ventures, Plexo Capital, and Baron Davis Enterprises, which is an investment firm owned by NBA All-Star and entrepreneur Baron Davis. Okay, so here's a brother doing something positive with his dollars, right? He's not buying an $18 million watch. No, he may floss some, but he's investing in it with his dollars and investing in African-American owned businesses and African-American owned media outlet, which is extremely, extremely important because we have to tell our own stories. We have to tell our own narrative. Power is the ability to define and shape reality and have other people accept your definition of reality as if it were their own, okay? So this is why African-American media is so important, okay? It helps, what you read, see, and hear affects the way you think, feel, act, and behave. So we have to tell our own stories. All right, so now Blavity is a digital content company geared towards African-American millennials. It was created in 2014 by Morgan DeBaun, who's now 28 years old, 28-year-old African-American female, and her co-founders, Aaron Samuels, Jonathan Jackson, and Jeff Nelson. Okay, so shout out to those brothers as well. So according to a press release, this last round of funding will be used to help the online publication grow, create new platforms, and accelerate its mission to ultimately to ultimately become the premier destination for a new generation of African American media consumers. Now, currently, Blavity is headquartered in Los Angeles. The multimedia company also plans to open a second location that will focus on engineering and data. And when we look at the article from Blavity.com, they had an article from June 20th and about this. Blavity Inc. has raised $6.5 million in our first official round of funding. Our first official round of funding. This is what it means for you, okay? And they say this is all for you, fam. And they talk about they're going to open up a new office in Atlanta, okay, as well. More money simply means more resources to invest in all of our brands. So they have Blavity.com, which is Blavity News. They also own Afrotech, 2190, which is another online news outlet, and Shadow and Act. They own that as well, and Travel Noire, N-O-I-R-E. Okay, so they said they're also opening up a new office in Atlanta, which will solely house our growing engineering and data team. So they own all these different digital platforms, right? Power is the ability to define and shape reality and have other people accept your definition of reality as if it were their own. As CEO Morgan DeBond puts it, quote, a lot of innovation will come out of this office in the next 6 to 9 months, end quote. So here you have African-American millennials doing something positive. Here you have them creating platforms. And when you go to Blavity.com, they have at the top of the page where you can submit articles to them, all right? And we understand that media is how we communicate. We galvanize support around organizations and causes. We inform about different current events, different opportunities, things like this. Media is extremely important. What you read, see, and hear affects the way you think, feel, act, and behave, okay? How's everybody doing? Post the name of your African-American business here on the thread of the broadcast. And also you can advertise with the African History Network. We'll talk about this in a couple of minutes here. And we have a special promotion, buy 1 month, get 1 month free. Okay, and that's running through Tuesday, July 24th. We reach thousands of people each week with the podcast of the African History Network show. And it's on 5 or 6 different podcast platforms also. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com for more information. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So African-American women are creating businesses at 6 times the national average, all right? And Blavity was created in 2014. So they've grown a lot since then. And for them, you know, 4 years later to be able to raise $6.5 million in capital and investment, man, is huge. Now, in an interview with TechCrunch, Morgan DeBond, 28-year-old African-American female, she revealed that she intends to triple the size of the company's engineering team, which will work on new products and content creation tools in the new office that will likely be in Atlanta. She said a lot of innovation will come out of that office in the next 6 to 9 months. Now, TechCrunch also reports that GV, used to be Google Ventures, GV partner John Lyman, L-Y-M-A-N, will join Blavity's board of directors as part of the new investment, okay? Now, some people say, well, they should only get money from African Americans. Okay, well, you try that, you do that, go ahead. Sometimes you have to get money from investors where you could get it from, where you don't have to give up too much equity in your business, where you don't have to give up too much ownership, and then over time you can buy them out. But the main thing is they're doing it. So you have a lot of the Negro naysayers who say we can't do this, we don't own this, we don't have enough of this, we don't have enough of that. Then you have other people who say, well, success is where preparation meets opportunity. So the question I would ask is, what are you preparing yourself for? Yes, racism and white supremacy exists. here's my copy of the ISIS Papers by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Not only have I read the book, I actually knew Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. I interviewed her 3 times. You can go listen to the interviews I did with her and other African-centered scholars at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Racism is a system of advantage and privilege distributed based upon race. Here's my copy, second edition of How White Folks Got So Rich, the untold story of American white supremacy. I understand this very well. I teach history. I understand this very well. But then what do you do about racism and white supremacy? Do you just sit back and complain about it, right? Or do you create African-American owned businesses so we can employ our own people and become the #1 employers of our own people, just like every other ethnic group in America? And we leverage our dollars to help fight against white supremacy and racism. Okay, so this is extremely, extremely important. So prior to this Series A round, Blavity raised a little over $1.8 million from several investors, including Macro, M-A-C-R-O, New Media Ventures, Base Ventures, Cross Culture Ventures, Harlem Capital Partners, and the Knight Enterprise Fund. Now, this made Morgan DeBaun, who's now 28 years old, one of the few African-American female founders that raised more than $1 million in funding in 2017. So, I mean, this sister is phenomenal. This sister's doing it. Think of where she will be in 20 years. This sister probably she could probably be a billionaire in 20 years. I mean, she's 28 and she raised $6.5 million in capital. 20 years? Because she may own a cable network like Kathy Hughes. You know, she may be a Oprah in the making. So in the last 4 years, Blavity has acquired additional content platforms like Travel Noir, which is a travel startup for African-American millennials, and Shadow and Act. And I've read articles from Shadow and Act, but I didn't know now they're owned by Blavity. And Shadow and Act, which focuses on lifestyle news and entertainment. The multimedia company also launched a series of life events, including Afrotech, its signature tech conference in Silicon Valley. Okay, this is a tech conference that they created. Afrotech, its signature tech conference in Silicon Valley, and Empower Her, a summit specifically for African American women. Okay, so I mean, this is fantastic. And like I said, African American women are creating businesses at 6 times the national average. When you read financialjuneteenth.com, when you read blackenterprise.com, things like this, you'll see articles dealing with this. Let's take a look at this article here. We can see this is Morgan DeVaughn. Okay, she's not hard on the eyes either. All right, so she is the co-founder and CEO of Blavity.com. All right, and here are her co-founders. Okay, so we have Morgan DeVaughn on the left, of course, Aaron Samuels, Jonathan Jackson, and Jeff Nielsen. All right, so these are African-American millennials doing something positive, and it looks like they're really doing something positive with their money. They could be, you know, buying $18 million watches. They can be wasting a lot of money, conspicuous consumption, things like this, but they're doing something to really, really empower African-Americans, okay? And then when we look at the article from Blavity, let's go back here, okay. We look at the article from, okay, I can't see it now. Also check out the article from Blavity.com about this as well, okay? All right. Okay, so here are a couple of books. You know, I talked about how success is where preparation meets opportunity. What are you preparing your success? What are you preparing yourself for, right? Here are a couple of books from my personal library, and I've taught entrepreneurship for 9 years. These are some books that I will reference when I teach entrepreneurship, okay? One of them is Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbro. So this was his first book, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. This was Dr. Dennis Kimbro and Napoleon Hill. He was commissioned by the Napoleon Hill Foundation to write this book which was a version of Think and Grow Rich, which Napoleon Hill wrote decades ago, to write this version for African Americans. And as Dr. Dennis Kimbro talks about, and I've heard him speak a number of times, he talks about how when Napoleon Hill died, he was working on a version of Think and Grow Rich for African Americans, okay? So you have this book here. Then you have Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, I've used this actually when I've taught entrepreneurship. What the rich teach their kids about money that the poor middle class do not. This is extremely important. What the rich teach their kids about money that the poor middle class do not, okay? I was trying to find my copy of The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley, which is a really good book, and it talks about habits of millionaires and talks about how the average millionaire doesn't spend more than $200 for a suit. They don't live in like multi-million-dollar homes. The average millionaire is very frugal, okay? About 85% of them are college educated, things like this. I don't know where my copy is, somewhere around here. Thomas J. Stanley, The Millionaire Next Door. So then you have this other book from Dr. Dennis Kimbro, What Makes the Great Great? What Makes the Great Great? Strategies for Extraordinary Achievement, okay? And I got this copy April 1st, 1997, April 1st, 1997, all right? Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. I got this, sorry, that's August 1st, 1997. I got this one, April 8th, 1994, because I write the dates that I get the books. April 8th, 1994. It's 24 years ago, okay? So then he came out with The Wealth Choice. This was in 2013. Really, really good book. The Wealth Choice, Success Secrets of Black Millionaires. And in this book, Dr. Dennis Kimbro, what he did was because I talked to him while he was writing this book. So he did surveys of 1,000 African-American millionaires, all right? So in 2009, there were about 35,000 African-American millionaires. He did surveys and interviews of 1,000 African-American millionaires, and he put together this book. He interviewed them. He dealt with their habits, okay, and what separates them from other people, all right? And yes, we know white supremacy and racism exists and poverty and all these things, yeah? But you have 35,000 African-American millionaires. Most of them did not inherit this money. Most of them were self-made millionaires. Majority of them did not make this money because they were entertainers or because they were a basketball player or something like this. So he deals with, on page 41, he deals with a profile of the affluent African-American, okay? And he says, as the wealth choice reflects, I discovered the inner workings of Black America's most affluent, as well as the habits and attitudes of those who join the Millionaires Club. For example, did you know the average African-American millionaire is a 52-year-old male, nearly 12%, and growing, female, born in the Northeast and Midwest, the majority raised in a home where both parents were present. More often than not, their mother was a housewife. The average net worth of the average African-American millionaire is $4 million. Average income of parents, $10,000 to $20,000 per year. So the average African-American millionaire was not born into wealth, okay? The average African-American millionaire has been married 15 to 25 years. They have 2 or more children. They approximately 69% of African-American millionaires have a college degree, okay? Their SAT score greater than 1,000 on average, greater than 1,000. College GPA, average college GPA for an African-American male millionaire was 2.9. Average GPA for college GPA for African-American female millionaire, 3.4, okay? When we look at their majors, the average African-American millionaire, 52% of them were business majors. 20% of them have an MBA, Master's of Business Administration, okay? And he talked about their daily routine. They rise on average at 5:30 a.m., go to bed at 11 p.m. They work long hours. They're up long hours, work long hours. How they made their money. 90% were entrepreneurs. Okay, 90% entrepreneurs. 30% of African American millionaires made their money in real estate. So when we look at some of their habits, and once again, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast, and we'll talk about in a minute how you can advertise with the African History Network. We reach thousands of people on a weekly basis across different podcast platforms for our radio show, the African History Network Show. And we put your 30-second commercial or 60-second commercial into the podcast. We're on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, Castbox, TuneIn.com, a number of different platforms. And you can email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com for more information. All right, now where's that page I had bookmarked? Hold on. Okay, here we go. Okay, so he lays out 9 habits of African American, 9 disciplines of African American millionaires. What separates them from other people? And he talks about be passionate and focus on unique strengths, develop clear, delineated goals, outline goals, autonomous and independent, be autonomous and independent, deep need for internal control, highly motivated self-starters. These are African American millionaires. These are habits of it. Industrious, strong work ethic, bias for action. Industrious, strong work ethic, bias for action. Never consider the possibility of failure. And even if you fail, see, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you take a calculated risk. Even if you fail, 1, you're going to learn something. 2, a setback sets you up for a comeback. A setback sets you up for a comeback. So, you know, when we would teach entrepreneurship, and my business partner I'll teach with Jim Robinson, who's one of my former college professors at Wayne State University, you know, we would say failure is not fatal, and success is not final. Failure is not fatal. Success is not final. Okay. So when you study a lot of millionaires in general, many of them have filed bankruptcy in the past. Now, they didn't file bankruptcy 6 times like Donald Trump, but a lot of them have filed bankruptcy in the past, and they restructured, they came back, and they hit it big. And when you read The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley, the average millionaire dabbles in about 17, 18 different business ventures until they hit it big. Okay. So discipline number 5 is never consider the possibility of failure. Discipline number 6, inquisitive, strong desire to know, quick to absorb and apply new information. That's me all day, every day. Inquisitive, strong desire to know, as I do research about 6 to 10 hours a day. Quick to absorb and apply new information. That's me all day, every day. But number 7 is extremely important. I've taught sales, you know, I've done retail management. I've taught sales. I've been in some aspect of sales for over 20 years. Strong sales skills. Sell, S-E-L-L, is not a 4-letter word. One of the most important skill sets you can have as an entrepreneur is knowing how to sell. If you know how to sell, you can make some money. If you know how to sell, and unfortunately, a lot of people are afraid to sell. And I've studied the science of selling, you know, the sales anatomy, the anatomy of a sales transaction, things like that, the opening, you know, the greeting, building rapport, qualification, trial close, closing, different things like that, right? And different sales techniques, field found technique, and EBCs of selling, always be closing. You know, I've studied Tom Hopkins and Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy, the real gurus of selling. So if you have sales skills, right, you can go to trade shows. And it's like when I go to a trade show, when I go to an expo, you know, I have my vendor table, you know, dude, it's showtime. I get 2 or more people at my table, man, it's showtime. We're going to make it happen. All right. So when you have those types of skills, and that's the real hand-to-hand combat, you know, you read Selling for Dummies by Tom Hopkins. business, right? Or even if you have to do cold calling, which I hated. I absolutely hated cold calling, right? But I studied cold calling. I read, Steve Schiffman's book dealing with 25, I think it was 25 successful habits of cold callers or something like that. Steve Schiffman is a sales guru, and he's written books dealing with cold calling techniques. I absolutely hated cold calling. But when I was in wireless sales, and I was doing business to business selling for small and medium sized businesses, we had to do cold calling on businesses in our district. So these are all skill sets that you need when it comes to business, right? So a lot of people who are African American business owners, and we have Gerald, aristocracy, 100% authentic merchandise that keeps you legit. Get yours today. Now you all can post the name of your business and your website also. Okay, culturezine.com. So when you have entrepreneurs, you have them, especially African American entrepreneurs, you have them coming from different walks of life. Some people may have a degree in the field that they build a business around, some may not, right? But if you don't have sales skills, I encourage you to read books like Selling for Dummies by Tom Hopkins. I encourage you to go to expos, get a vendor table at expos, get a booth. You can start out at local events in your area, whether it's at your church, the church bazaar, different things like this. You can get a vendor table $25, $50, $75. Not a huge investment. And you can gain a lot of experience in what I call hand-to-hand combat. Because see, when you are at those expos and you have a customer right in front of you, that's the battlefield. You're engaged in hand-to-hand combat. So you learn about having your banner. You learn about how to display your products. You learn about how to talk to customers, right? How to create a display that greets customers. And then you'll see, right, as you get one customer and two customers and three around your table, more people will come. Okay, more people come. I worked with Ken Harris here in Detroit 2 years on the International Detroit Black Expo. Okay, and the first year I think we had maybe about 50,000 people who came through. It was at Cobo Hall. So and we had a number, I can't remember, it was over 100 vendors, things like this. So I've, have experience working with vendors and being a vendor myself. For a number of years, I've had a vendor booth at the African World Festival, which takes place the third weekend of August in Detroit. Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, about 100,000 people come through. So I have experience in selling in different venues, whether it's at a African World Festival like that, whether it's at a professional trade show, like when I used to do educational consulting, okay, whether it's at just this past weekend in Atlanta, Liberated Minds Black Homeschool and Education Expo, had a vendor table there as well, okay? So when you have sales skills, you learn how to sell in different environments, and you learn how to sell and market to different customers also, okay? This is extremely, extremely important. So at the African History Network, I've been hosting the African History Network show. I'm the founder of the African History Network. I've been hosting the show for 8 years. Started March 10th, 2010, all right? And we have over 900 audio podcasts of our radio shows at blogtalkradio.com/the African History Network show. But we have a special promotion for African American business owners. Hey, you can advertise with the African History Network, reach thousands of potential customers on a weekly basis on the audio podcast of our radio show, the African History Network show. So we place your 60-second commercial into the podcast. On Blog Talk Radio alone, we get between 4,000 to 8,000 listens per episode within 1 to 2 weeks. And then our podcasts are on iTunes, our iTunes page, the African History Network show on these different platforms, on iTunes, Castbox, which is a whole nother platform, and they have an app, Castbox. Download the Castbox app to your smartphone. This is another platform for hundreds, if not thousands of audio podcasts. We're on fmplayer.com. We're on tunein.com. We know TuneIn is huge for live radio and also podcasts. We're also on acast.com, and there's some other platforms as well. Okay, so we reach thousands of people on a weekly basis. If you don't have a commercial, we can record one for you. We have a special promotion right now. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. So we have a few slots left because we have limited inventory. Okay, we have a few slots left. Your ad will run twice during our show. And then also, so I do the show once a week. And then also I do some different broadcasts throughout the week, and we can place your ad in those other broadcasts as well, okay? For more information, email us at African History Network, email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com, customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. So if you are a book author, or you own a African-American bookstore, you have a website where you sell African-American clothing, or you sell shea butter and different types of oils, you sell jewelry, you have an event coming up, say you have a Kamene yoga festival, or you have an African American History Month festival, a Marcus Garvey Day, a Kwanzaa celebration. You're bringing in a speaker like Professor Kaba, Kamene, Booker T. Coleman, or Dr. Leonard Jeffries, or somebody like that. You want to advertise with the African History Network. We reach thousands of people across the country on a daily basis, one. Two, we'll also do an interview with you here on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, as well. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com for more information, all right? Let's see, let's go to some of your comments. So Mimi Lyle said, we have 2 vending sites we are going to in August 2018, Summer Business and Health Expo, and on the 12th, and the Art Loop at Pro Medica's Market on the Green on the 16th in Toledo, okay? Summer Business and Health Expo. Interesting. I'd like to know more about that. Great topic. We need to talk business more. So even though I teach history, and I've been studying history for 26 years, right? My degree is in business administration with a major in marketing. I studied entrepreneurship in school. I taught entrepreneurship for 9 years, managed a business consulting company for 7 years, managed a janitorial service company, and we had contracts with the local municipality. I know because I won some of those contracts. I was the one who had to bid on the contracts. I managed a construction trades program through a local community college. We also became, the company that I was managing, we also became vendors of the state of Michigan. I know we became vendors of the state of Michigan and had contracts with the state of Michigan because I was the one who got us certified to become a vendor with the state of Michigan. So I had to learn the whole system. So I have a lot of experience in this. This is not what I read in the book, even though I read books. Now I'm talking, see, when I teach entrepreneurship, I'm dealing with real life hand-to-hand combat. I'm dealing with real life stuff. I've been in the meetings negotiating janitorial service contracts with the local municipality after we won the contract because of declining property taxes and because of declining home ownership in the city of Michigan and the county of Wayne, they had less and less money. So I've been in those meetings where we have to renegotiate our contract that we won. So I have experience dealing with corporate America, experience dealing with the nonprofit sector, experience dealing with the public sector as well, dealing with government also. Okay, let's see here. Phoebe and Hannah's business beginnings. All right. Okay, GoFundMe.com, twin-kidpreneurs. We're raising money for my twin daughter's business, Fonteria and Elaine's World. Shakiji Malik Abdul said, true, a good salesperson makes good money. Kim said, that's right. Everyone needs to learn marketing. Highest paid people are people who sell something. Oh yeah, yeah. And check out the series Black Friday, the documentary series Black Friday that I'm in. Because this deals with practical strategies for recycling a $1.3 trillion economy, and also deals with how we understand money, how our life experiences and how we raise impacts the way we understand money as well. Okay, that's from director Rick Mathis. I'm in that documentary series. We have it available at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right, so we've got Sydney. Share this broadcast on your Facebook page. Also invite your friends to tune in. We got Al, Damon, a few of the people watching. Okay. Devin, Renee, and people commenting on the book from Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, The ISIS Papers, The Keys to the Colors. Fantastic, fantastic book. Get this from your local African-American bookseller, book dealer, see if they could get it in. If they can't get it in, probably find it at Amazon.com. Robbie said, you sound like you are a man with a lot of hustles and flow. Are you interested in coffee business in Africa? Anthony, possibility. I've heard some people talk about that coffee business in Africa. Robbie is in Huntsville, Alabama, watching right now. All right. Okay, so African-American business owners, post the name of your business here. Once again, you can advertise with the African History Network, reach thousands of potential customers on a weekly basis. It is, if you don't have a 60-second commercial, we can record one for you. And we put it into the audio podcast of our radio shows, the African History Network show. And we've been broadcasting for 8 years. And we reach just on Blog Talk Radio alone, where we upload the podcast, blogtalkradio.com/the African History Network show. Each episode gets between 4,000 to 8,000 listens between 1 to 2 weeks. That's just on that platform alone. We're on about 6 different podcast platforms: iTunes, TuneIn.com, Acast, FM Player, and Castbox. Okay, so we're on a number of different platforms, and those are the ones I know of. There's some other platforms we're on. I just learned about Castbox a couple months ago because somebody sent me a message on Twitter and say, hey, I just listened to this great podcast that you did. And I said, what platform was it on? They said Castbox. I said, what the hell is Castbox? So they told me about it. So I downloaded the app. Castbox is huge. So podcasts are growing and growing. Now, there was an article I saw from either Financial Juneteenth or which one? Or blackenterprise.com. Which one was this? And this dealt with one of the platforms. I think it was Spotify. This dealt with Spotify looking for, here we go, right here, because I got all this stuff bookmarked. Blackenterprise.com had an article. Spotify is looking for new female podcasters of color. Podcasts are huge. Podcasts are huge. And this is one of the things also that I encourage people to do, right? So you want to position yourself as an expert in your field. You don't have to call yourself an expert. People come to me for information about history. I never call myself an expert in history. People call me a historian. They call me an expert. I put in the work. I don't have a PhD in history, but I do about 3 or 4 times as much research as PhDs, okay? And I study a number of different subjects and topics, not just history, but current events, politics. You heard my show last night. You saw we went in on Donald Trump, okay? And we dealt with, is Donald Trump a traitor, and provided the evidence as well. But they have an article, blackenterprise.com. Let's look at this here. Are you a woman? So this deals with Spotify. And this came out April 2nd, 2018, okay? Are you a woman, podcaster of color, or want to become one? Spotify wants you. All right, this is a huge opportunity. with successful podcasts going mainstream, the two dope queens, a show that was recently picked up by HBO, Spotify sees a clear podcaster market opportunity when it comes to this new space for content creation. Even with the success of the show, a recent study showed that only 22% of podcasts are hosted by women, and the number is even smaller when it comes to women of color. Spotify wants to change that. So the company, Spotify, is hosting a Sound Up Boot Camp, which is a week-long intensive program for aspiring female podcasters of color. The event took place last month, but they may have another one. The event will take place June 25th through the 29th, 2018 at Spotify's New York City offices. And Spotify is hand selecting 10 attendees who will learn about the art of podcast creation, from initial idea creation to editing, producing, and marketing, from experts in the field. Okay, so check out this article. See, these are opportunities. Opportunities are all around us. Yes, white supremacy and racism exist. I'll be the first one to tell you that. And I can tell you the history of it also. Okay, I know the history of it and things like that. But what do you do about it? Okay, this is powerful. So if you have a business, right, a clothing business, or you have a bookstore or something like that, you want to create a podcast. You create podcasts that talk about topics, talk about news stories. So the podcast is not designed just to promote what you sell. The podcast is to deal with relevant content, okay? You may do a book review, or you may even interview a book author whose book you carry. Okay, but when you have this content, this reaches a lot of people, and this helps position you as an expert in the field. So people come to you with questions. People come to you looking for resources. Okay, podcasts are huge, and they're very low cost as well. All right, you may start out with a Facebook Live broadcast, and then you may move to a podcast platform. And what I do is Facebook Live broadcast like this right here. I take this, I download it, I take the audio of it, okay, because I have the software program like Corel Video Studio 8 Pro 8, whatever it is, Corel Video Studio. I take the audio from this video right here. I upload it to Blog Talk. When I upload it to our Blog Talk page, they automatically upload it to iTunes, Castbox, Acast, FM Player, and TuneIn.com. And then I take this video and upload it to our YouTube channel, where we have 39,000 subscribers, Michael Imhotep on YouTube. Okay, so one of the things that as an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, you have to master time management skills. Okay, so I can take this one broadcast and I can hit at least 7 different platforms with it. And if I want to, I can upload it to SoundCloud, but I don't know if I'm going to keep the subscription with SoundCloud, because Blog Talk putting it on 5 other platforms is really good. So you can take one broadcast. So I do this with a lot of broadcasts we do on Facebook Live. Okay, I take that, I upload the video to YouTube, I take the audio, upload the Blog Talk, it hits all these different platforms. Then I send out an email newsletter about the new content through our Constant Contact subscription. All right, so let's see here. Let me get some more of your comments. Okay, so Nettie said, My Econ, we are a company that teaches financial education, credit, debt elimination, investment education, Your Pros, Parity Blueprint.club. Okay, so Nettie, you need to email us, because African Americans definitely need financial literacy skills. Okay, so you definitely need to email us. Robbie said, this is so confirming, because I wanted to be a podcast YouTube host with interest in the field of lifestyle hacks, fashion, beauty, upcycling, clothing, jewelry. So here's the thing. See, when you put your videos on YouTube, right? Once you get a certain number of subscribers, you can sign up for Google AdSense. You can monetize your videos. So we have our videos monetized on YouTube. Okay, so it ain't. I mean, it's yeah. I ain't, you know, I can't retire off of the money, but you know, when that money hits my bank account, it's like, oh hell, this is good. That helps. That helps pay some bills. Don't have pay. Doesn't help pay all the bills, but oh, it's better. It helps. Okay, so you can monetize these videos. You can create another stream of income, and it's growing. Now that I have been doing it regularly, and what I started doing is when on Sunday nights, when I broadcast the African History Network show on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, I started broadcasting live on YouTube from my laptop. And I set my tripod up in the studio, and I broadcast live through Facebook. So now I'm hitting AM radio, I'm broadcasting on YouTube Live, and I'm broadcasting on Facebook Live. I'm hitting these platforms, right? I'm gonna take that video from Facebook, I'm gonna upload it also again to YouTube because it's filming from a different angle. I'm gonna broadcast from YouTube. All of it is monetized. And one of the things I started doing is if I have a 2-hour show, I'm gonna have 3 or 4 commercial breaks on YouTube in that 2-hour show. I'm gonna have a commercial at the beginning. I'm gonna have a commercial at the end. I'm gonna have 3 commercial breaks inside that. So you can generate more revenue from one 2-hour video as opposed to just having a commercial at the beginning, because the show is broadcasted on a terrestrial radio station. We have an FCC license with station. I don't have one. The station has an FCC license. So we take commercial breaks, right? So when I upload that video to YouTube, when the station takes a commercial break, oh, we're going to put a commercial in from YouTube. This helps generate revenue. And you got to have multiple streams of revenue. Okay, you got to have, as a business owner, entrepreneurs. I mean, if you look at entertainers like LL Cool J, right? If you look at Jay-Z, Jay-Z is a perfect example. Jay-Z doesn't just make money from rapping. Jay-Z owns Tidal. Jay-Z's making documentaries. Jay-Z's going on tour. Jay-Z has multiple streams of income. Beyonce has multiple streams of income. Well, hell, these are two of the wealthiest entertainers, period. Not just African American. These are two of the wealthiest entertainers, period. So if they have multiple streams of income, you know damn well you and I need multiple streams of income. If they have, and they need multiple streams of income, you know damn well you and I have multiple streams of income. So we have to understand this, and this is one of the things that when you read The Wealth Choice, Success Secrets of Black Millionaires by Dr. Dennis Kimmel, this is something that you learn, okay? Now, all the millionaires, I'll be the first one to admit, are not African-centered. A lot of them have good hearts. They give a lot of donations. They donate. This is one of the things he talks about in the book. But African history and culture gives you your foundation. This gives you your VIPs, your values, your interests, and your principles. This influences your economic empowerment and influences your political empowerment, okay? We have to have a synthesis of all those. This is one of the things I talked about when I did my presentation at the Liberated Minds Black Homeschooling Education Expo. I spoke Sunday, July 15th. My presentation was on lessons from the film Black Panther, economic guerrilla warfare, political self-defense, and how to Wakanda the vote. Okay, and you see my Black Panther t-shirt. This is one of the 5 Black Panther t-shirts I have. Also, if you like the type of information we share, you want to learn more about our history, I teach online classes. We have them all on demand. We have a 48-hour sale, okay? We have a 10 online course bundle pack that's 62% off. It includes ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. It includes an online class I did dealing with the film Black Panther analysis, great African women in history, the mothers of civilization, African American resistance in the era of Donald Trump, voter suppression, reparations, and how elections have consequences, and some other ones. It's on sale right now, $50, regularly $130. That's going on. It's a 48-hour sale going on till Wednesday, July 25th, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? We posted the link here, or go to AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. It's regularly $130 on sale, $50. These are all on demand. You can go at your own pace. And understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school, that's a 14-hour, 7-session online course that I teach. It's all on demand. We deal with thousands of years of history. Okay, you can watch from around the world. All right, so that online course bundle pack will blow you away. The average millionaire has at least 7 streams of income, Nettie said. Where'd you get that information from, Nettie? And I encourage you to watch shows like the Shark Tank. Shark Tank is a really, really good show. Another show I like is from the creators of the Shark Tank. If I remember correctly, it's from the creators of the Shark Tank. It's on CNBC. It's called The Prophet. Profit, The Prophet. Marcus Lemonis, man. This dude is like the Shark Tank, is similar to it, but he's one person. And what he does is each week he goes into a failing business. And he's a master at turning around businesses. He has a lot of business relationships. He's a multimillionaire. He invests his own money in these businesses. He lays out a whole plan for them. He turns the business around. And see, the great thing about it is that he deals with businesses in different industries. So you get to learn about different industries. And he talks about the 3 Ps. He talks about the people, the process, and the product. And these are the 3 things he focuses on investing in and changing: the people, the product, and the process. And he tells you to trust the process. It's a fantastic show. I mean, you can damn near get a degree in business administration watching that show. I mean, quiet as kept, at least in entrepreneurship, because they deal with so many different industries. And I've seen some African-American businesses there, and you get to see mistakes that they make. You get to see mistakes that entrepreneurs make, like not being able to let go, having a problem delegating responsibility, because this business is your baby. You started it from the ground up. You were the first one there, right? So a lot of times entrepreneurs have a hard time in letting go of responsibility, delegating responsibility. They just have to be involved in every decision. Okay, and you can't grow, especially if you're trying to grow from 1 location to 2 locations to 3 locations. There was one example. We'll go to some more of your comments here in just a minute. There was one business. It was an African-American man. He owned a bakery, and he made cupcakes. He made like the best cupcakes you ever want to taste. He did not know what his price. He did not know what his cost was to make a cupcake. He didn't know what his cost was. He didn't know really how much it cost him to make a cupcake. So Marcus is asking him these basic questions, okay? And as he starts writing this stuff down, then he realizes, well, wait a second, he needs to increase the price of his cupcakes to increase his profit so he can pay his bills, so he can pay his employees. He wanted desperately to expand to a second location. He wanted desperately to expand to a second location. So after Marcus goes through and he asks him questions about the cost of the second location, and he deals with how much is going to cost to run it, the daily cost, pay for utilities, pay for employees, it averaged out to something like only $15 in profit a day after you go through and crunch the numbers. And he's taking on all this expense for a second location. And one of the things Marcus explained to him is like, wait a second, you haven't corrected the problems with the first location. If you expand to a second location, you're going to duplicate the problems, because the same problems you had at the first location, you're going to have with the second location, because you haven't corrected the process. So a lot of times as business owners, we get caught up in thinking that expanding is somehow good. Expanding is progress. What are you expanding? Are you duplicating a problem? You have to correct the process, correct the problems at the first location before you expand to the second location, right? And a lot of times we get caught up because we think, okay, so now we have 2 locations. We want to be like George Jefferson. Jefferson Cleaner, 7 locations, 1 near you. So we think that just expanding is good. What's the profitability? What's the risk that you're taking on? Okay? If you do not correct the process and the problems at the first location, you're duplicating these problems. So after Marcus crunched the numbers with him, he realized, okay, I'm not ready to expand to the second location. And I remember when I was doing business-to-business selling in the wireless industry for cell phones. I remember here in Detroit, because my district was downtown Detroit, part of downtown Detroit and some other zip codes in Detroit. I remember there was this one business, and they did, it was owned by African Americans, two brothers. They had a business center, kind of like a business center, because back at this time, this is back in the late 90s. This is about 98, 99. So back at that time, a lot of people did not have fax machines. And they had one of those business centers where you could go, you could use the computer, pay to use the computer, you could pay for fax machine, pay to use a fax machine. And they had some other business services there. But I remember every time I went to that place, every time I did a business call on them, they had a new service they were offering, right? So a lot of times as a business owner, we think that more is better. We think that offering more services is better, offering more products is better, things like that. But there's a learning curve involved in offering new services. There are growing pains in offering new services. You have to learn the system, you have to learn the process, things like this. And oftentimes when you're expanding, and you are offering more services, more products, it can complicate things. Okay, you have to be trained on the new products. You have to be trained on the new services. I can't talk about that. Well, let me see. Can I talk about it? With a business out of business, so hell, I guess they filed bankruptcy. I remember when I used to manage a Radio Shack. One of the problems with Radio Shack, one of the reasons why Radio Shack went out of business is because they were trying to have employees sell everything. So they were like, I remember when I left Radio Shack in it was like 2003 when I left Radio Shack, 2003, 2004. When I left, hell, there were damn near 23, 24 certification tests you had to take. What Radio Shack was trying to do, now back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, it was good. When a recession hit, and Radio Shack was dealing with more competition from Best Buy and things like this, right? They were trying to get employees to be trained on all these products and sell everything, including cell phones, which are complicated by itself. So now you want them to sell Sprint and you want them to sell Verizon. Those are two different processes. Those are two different offers. Those are two different systems. And you want this person that you're paying $8 an hour, $9 an hour, or shit, whatever it was, if they're not hitting bonus. You want them to be trained on all this stuff. And I remember what happened was, with a lot of the activations from Radio Shack, a lot of them would be set up incorrectly. Because you got this person 18, 19 years old, they're trying to sell this, they're trying to sell Sprint, they're trying to sell Verizon, they're trying to sell Dish Network, they're trying to sell DirecTV. You train them on all this stuff. When you go to Best Buy, they have departments for all of that, right? So there's a higher level of accuracy coming from the activations from a Best Buy, because at Best Buy, they have a wireless center. So that's all the people at that wireless center do. Okay? So I watched the slow death of Radio Shack. I knew it was coming. You know, I saw it take place. But that's an example of how a lot of times, as business owners, we think that offering more is better. Okay, and a lot of times what you have to do is simplify your offerings so you could become an expert in it. It's easier to manage. It's less training you have to do for your employees. There's less chance for mistakes to take place. All right. Nettie said to specialize in everything is to specialize in nothing. Greg said the concept of unilinear growth, forward increasing in numbers, a European concept. Per Urugu, an African-centered critique of European cultural thought and behavior, that's written by Dr. Marimba Ani. Okay, Mimi said you're right about Radio Shack. Nettie said you must figure out a target market, carve out a niche, and cater to it. Oh yeah, absolutely. You focus on your target market, definitely. Mimi said teaching my twin daughters and son about acquiring multiple streams of income. We have begun the real life acquisition slowly since last month. Also, check out Dr. Boyce Watkins has the Black Stock Market Program or something like that. Check out Dr. Boyce Watkins' broadcast here on the African History Network. He has the blackbusinessschool.com, so check that out, the blackbusinessschool.com. All right. Felicia said multiple streams of income ownership needs to be our objective. Owning properties and businesses are the way to conquering economic depression. Mimi said, have been teaching them about life insurance. That's good. Nitty said, when billionaires start saying that we need to have universal handouts because automation will put tons of people out of work, is no better time to learn how to use the internet. I was watching MSNBC this morning. Actually, it's on right now, but I just have it muted. So I watch between 6 to 10 hours of MSNBC a day, sometimes 12. So this morning on Stephanie Rule's show, she's on 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then 11 a.m. to noon, she's on with Ali Velshi for Velshi and Rule, one of the best shows on MSNBC. But she was interviewing somebody from the White House. And he talked about, the person she was interviewing from the White House talked about by the year, this is 2018, by the year 2030, it's estimated that 60 million Americans will lose their jobs because of automation, robotics, software programs. And one of the things he and Stephanie Rule were talking about is retraining today's employees for the emerging industries, because you have 6.7 million unfilled jobs right now, right? But the reason why you have so many unfilled jobs, and that's a record number of unfilled jobs, like in the last 20 years or so, is because there's a skills gap. There's a lack of qualified, trained employees for these positions. And this is something that he was talking about. He said, there's a real need for retraining. Especially, a lot of people who are in their 40s or 50s and they're getting laid off, they're getting downsized, what have you. It can be shocking. It could be unnerving to have to retrain. When I was doing educational consulting, this is one of the things we were doing because of Governor Jennifer Granholm's No Worker Left Behind initiative here in the state of Michigan. So I was managing a training company. We were working with a local community college to bring in mature learners, people who were getting downsized. I mean, Ford Motor Company was going through a huge series of layoffs, and we were working with Ford to get people enrolled into the community college for retraining and high growth industries, and things like that. And this is how I found out, talking to some of the HR people there. This is how I found out that they had a lot of people working at Ford who've been there 25, 30 years, and they were functionally illiterate because they had to read to them. The HR people told us they had to read to these people the buyout program, the buyout offer, to determine whether or not they wanted to do it. This is how we found out that they had a lot of people, some of them were white, some African American. They had been there 25, 30 years, got in because their father worked there, grandfather worked there. and they were functionally illiterate. Okay. Wow, 2030, but there are so many folks, especially our folks, who do not know this. Oh, that's absolutely true. They don't know it. They have to do research. We should be in a constant state of learning and doing, all right? Okay, so hey, if you like this type of information, you can also donate to the African History Network, paypal.me/the AHN show, paypal.me/the AHN show. That helps us stay on the air, helps us keep doing the research, helps us keep broadcasting, helps us to pay the bills. And then African American business owners, you can advertise with the African History Network. You can grow your business. You can reach thousands of potential customers on a weekly basis. We placed your 60-second commercial into the podcast of our radio shows, the African History Network show. If you don't have a commercial, no problem. We'll record one for you, no additional charge. We can get you started today. We can upload your commercial. You can put your commercial into the podcast that I did yesterday, because we're going to upload that today. So we can get you started today. We also put the flyer of for your business or your event. We put that into our email newsletter as well. And we'll also do one interview with you here to give you additional exposure on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. Okay, so we have a special promotion which ends Wednesday, July 25th, 11:59 p.m. while ad space is available. Because we only have a limited amount. We only have a few slots left. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. Okay. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com for more information. Okay. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com for more information. All right. And this should say, Wednesday, July 25th. Okay. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com for more information. All right. Well, look, we have to get out of here. Hey, remember, I will be in San Diego, August 10th through the 12th for Return of the Gods, the Real Family Reunion, Friday, August 10th through Sunday, August 12th. I'm being honored. I'm one of this year's honorees, along with one of my teachers, Professor Kaba Kamene, formerly known as Booker T. Coleman. You've seen him in the Hidden Colors documentaries, Queen Afua. Also, Return of the Gods is a royal festival celebrating the shift and rise to enlightenment. Come out for an amazing show of live hip-hop, motivational speakers, live African dancers, martial arts demonstration, yoga, and an award ceremony of master teachers and scholars. Okay, we have the link here where you can register. They have a 3-day weekend pass. Is on sale for $100, and you can go to AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We have the information there. We also just posted the link here on the thread of the broadcast. All right. Okay, hey, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now this corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Right now, it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.